Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to the Sabi Sands, to Djuma and Arathusa, where we are filming live. It is a wonderful afternoon. It's very hot, and myself and Brian have just been keeping the wind blowing on us. There's Brian with the smiley thumb. Brian was on camera this morning with me, and we spent a lot of time filming together and enjoy one another's company on drive, and also enjoy your company. It's interactive for those of you who are new, so please feel free to ask questions on Twitter at #SafariLive and on email questions@WildEarthTV. So we are driving through an area now where there were some leopard tracks this morning. We didn't take this route as an option while searching for the leopard, but just thought we'd slowly wind our way down this little path. It's not a very busy road. It's interesting, some roads become more popular than others over time, and obviously therefore they get a lot more traffic and become a lot more worn, whereas this track, you can see it's still very grassy. It doesn't get too much use, but it does take us through a beautiful area, as you will shortly see. We are quite close to the perimeter of the camp where guests come to stay. But interestingly enough, the leopard in this area, and lion for that matter in terms of predators, often come very close to camps and sometimes walk straight through them. It's not uncommon for female leopards to actually realize that a lodge is quite a safe place to give birth. So it's happened at numerous camps where leopard have given birth in the roof of some guest rooms or under the decks. And I think Karula is no different. She has kept her cubs, possibly not given birth to them here, but certainly stashed them here in the past. She's raised 4 litters of cubs now. 7 out of the 8 have made it to adulthood, which is an incredibly good statistic. And she is one of the stars of our show. Sadly, since I've been here, though, we haven't seen much of her. There is reason to believe that she has given birth to new cubs. So that is possibly why we haven't seen much of her. She's evidently moved out of the area where she usually hangs around at the camp here, or surrounding the camp. And we're not sure why that is, possibly because her 2 sons, which are 2 years old now, are in the area, and they could potentially kill her cubs. It's not normal for them to do that, because it's typically males that would want to mate with females that kill a female's cubs. They're fleecing her of her obligation to raise them and allowing them to get their blood into the area, in the pool. So that is something to look forward to, though, folks, in the coming months. I'm sure we will get some tiny leopard cub viewing. But as I say, we are looking for one of her sons in all likelihood, whose tracks we saw in this area this morning. There's two males, 2 sons, which are, like I said, 2 years old now. Wonderful that people keep track of these leopards to such a degree that they know which month they're born in and which year, and this is monitored and kept track of and shared between different areas, as male leopards could move very far from here to an area where guides would have no knowledge of the patterns. This allows us to keep track of where they move to and then be able to share information about these animals with the guides in the area that they move to. We were a little bit concerned about potential rain this evening, as there was a large cloud build-up at around 9 o'clock when we finished this morning's drive. But as you can see now, it's cleared up beautifully. Just a few little clouds in the sky that don't appear to present any threat to us in terms of rain. hopefully just provide some artwork for the sunset. Some of you may recognize this water bottle. This was left by Peter for us. It was quite nice. We were left with a lot of little gifts from the team that left last week, and we do miss them, so just thought we'd let them know if any of them are watching, which they could well be. We do miss you guys, but things are going along well here since you've left. There's some civet tracks on the road here. Now the civet is a very, very interesting nocturnal animal that we sadly don't get to see too much of. They look similar to a raccoon, if I could relate it to an animal that is more widely known. And we often do see civet tracks on the roads in the morning. Obviously the mornings provide us with fresher, crisper tracks than the afternoon, especially for those of the nocturnal animals, like the civet. What does this little rivet have in store for us? Nothing at the outset, but worth having a peer down just for interest's sake. There are cool areas to lie up in during the heat of the day, so not uncommon to find leopard in areas like this, and a very similar setting was where we found quarantine male the other afternoon. What makes our life a little bit difficult though is that you can see how many hiding places they are, that if the leopard was just tucked behind any one of these bushes, we would certainly battle to spot them. But we will certainly give you guys a chance to scan the undergrowth. Wouldn't it be nice if one of you spotted a leopard before Brian or myself did, all the way from another country? So keep your eyes peeled. Now on the ground it is going to be difficult for you to spot animals, as it is for us. So one piece of advice I would like to give when scanning for animals on our drives is to look up in the trees. Now marula trees, which we will show you, I'm looking around here, there aren't really any good examples surrounding us, but now marula trees have got very horizontal branches which leopard love to lie on, and with a bit of luck one of you might actually be able to spot one before we do lying in a tree. And what makes it easy is that because it's a silhouette you're looking for as opposed to colors, it's simply the shape, or an abnormal shape in a tree, like 4 horizontal legs hanging down, or sorry, vertical. So no trees grow vertically downwards. So as soon as you see any vertical kind of abnormality in a tree, vertically downwards, then you can stop and reassess, even if it's very far in the distance, whether it could be a leopard, a tail dangling down. So that is something worth searching for. It will probably be your greatest likelihood of spotting something before us, which I could think of nothing better than getting stopped by you guys and go back to a leopard. It has happened to me before, especially when finding fresh tracks. you end up looking down on the road so that you're not looking around you, and you can therefore either drive past the leopard lying on a termite mound or up in a tree. Once literally the tree was overhanging the road, and myself and my tracker Brian, would you mind? Just that light's just tapping. I don't think you can hear because of your earpiece. I don't know if you're going to be able to get it there. There we go. Brian's long arms coming in handy. We just had a little bit of a rattle below us, but Brian's long reach has come into the rescue again. Very useful for when we're off-roading. He can clear the path with his arms before the vehicle even gets to the tree. Now, interestingly, folks, this mud wallow on our left-hand side here was filled with water. Not filled, but I mean, there was water in it, a layer of water in the bottom of it 2 days ago. As you can see now, it is bone dry. So it gives you an idea of the intensity of the sun here. It really is baking hot at this time of the year. The evenings are beautiful and cool though. From about 6 o'clock in the evening till 6 o'clock in the morning, it's cool, crisp mornings or evenings. And then during the day it really starts cooking. So as you can see, this mud wallow has dried out, but it will get a lot more activity over the coming months, provided we do get our usual rainfall, which is required in this area. It's about 600 to 800 millimeters a year of rain, and at the moment we probably, I'm guessing, only had 100 or so of that total quota of 600 to 800 that we usually expect in this area. Okay, well, Bill did inquire the exact temperature that I've been talking about, this heat, and it's 33 degrees Celsius, which makes it around, I think, 92 Fahrenheit. If I remember what Alex relates to me. Thanks, Alex. Alex is in control this afternoon. And we will be meeting up with Mark a little bit later for our campfire fireside chat, which will be directly after the drive from 7 o'clock till 8 o'clock for an hour. We may have a small 5 to 10 minute break between the drive and the fireside chat due to the fact that Jigga, our second vehicle, is currently in hospital. So we just make regarding the wine what goes on behind the. So that's something to look forward to. It'll be my first fireside chat, and also my first fireside chat with Mark, who's had many. So I'm looking forward to that, and watched Hayden and Peter's 2 fireside chats since I've arrived, and they seem like good fun. Avoid that, so apologies again, but it's the weekend and we are in a very remote location, so the combination of those two factors have made fixing jigger a little bit tricky. I think I may head out to Arathusa this afternoon. We haven't been spending time there, not because it's not a beautiful area, not because there's no game there, but simply because we have been focusing our efforts on this property, and especially for myself, get to know this property well before focusing on Arathusa. On top of everything, the animals have been doing what I think a great show for us. So far they've certainly made our lives easy with the performances they've provided for us to share with you. We saw a few buffalo bulls coming down to this dam earlier this morning, but they appear to have moved off. There are some inyala up at the top end of the dam. Woodlands kingfisher, very distinctive call, especially at this time of the year. They aren't here in our winter, and some people I think are quite grateful for that, because they do make a racket from early on in the morning. So it sounds great during the summer, but come the end of summer you find a few people that are happy to wave the woodlands kingfisher goodbye. Now there's a fish eagle flying over, so that's why the Egyptian geese are alarm calling. And well done, Brian. Now we were chatting this morning about the Egyptian geese and how they defend their goslings from predators, and just that alarm call that they started shouting out as the eagle flew over was an indication to the eagle that they know what's going on, they're aware of any potential threats, which will immediately make the fish eagle think twice. It lacks that element of surprise, which is critical for all predators before catching prey. So that was a fairly decent example. Thankfully the fish eagle didn't try anything too serious, but if it did, we would see those Egyptian geese fly towards it confrontationally. Okay, so Mark is watching from the final control, and he has just suggested that I have a look to double check that this is not an osprey. And you know what, Mark? I think you're 100% correct. So thank you very much for pointing that out, Mark. I've seen a juvenile fish eagle here before, but I'm just going to get out my book to double check. I do get confused between the fish eagle, juvenile fish eagle, and the osprey. Oh no, it's a juvenile fish eagle. It is a juvenile fish eagle. So we'll show you in the book once we've finished focusing on it there, but it does look like a juvenile fish eagle. Thankfully they show a picture of the juvenile fish eagle in the book, which I'll show you now. And they don't sadly show a juvenile picture for the osprey, but this here is the African fish eagle, the one on the bottom left. Similar to a bald eagle, I guess, as another example of a well-known bird of prey. So this is the adult with the brown and the white head, and this is the sub-adult here, which is who we are looking at up in that tree. Now the osprey is a very similar looking bird to the juvenile, but slightly different in that it lacks the barred chest and the solid brown stomach parts. An incredible bird, and not very common, the osprey. I got excited there for a moment, and I guess Mark was in the same boat when he saw it fly past on the screen. Also a fish-eating bird found in aquatic areas, so it wouldn't be uncommon to see it in an area like this. Oh, there's a nice cool breeze coming past. So cool to have Mark watching from final control, it really is. Obviously it would be better if he was out here with us, don't get me wrong. But sadly it is what it is, so we've been taking turns over the last few days. And as of tomorrow I will be taking a few days off. Okay, this might be our lucky opportunity, Brian. Oh, that didn't help. There's a crested barbet up in this tree here, folks, and the tree's got no leaves in it, which makes tracking it for Brian a bit easier, and it's an exceptionally beautiful bird. So, oh, good work, Brian. I think I'm battling to see the monitor. Where's it gone? Oh, it's in the top, more to the left. That's it calling there, folks. Okay, there we go. Zoom in, kind of slap bang in the middle. Well done, Brian. Okay, now it is difficult to see now, a bit more to the left. There we go. There you can see it calling. Awesome. Look at his head vibrating. This, folks, is a crested barbet. It's a bird we hear very often but seldom get to show you. Let alone show you it calling. They're doing a duet performance of crested barbets and a Cape turtle dove, which is also in the same tree. I wonder if any other birds will come and join the party. He sure is going for it. It really is incredible how such small animals can make such a loud noise. It always is something that baffles me. Brian, see if you can pan across to the Cape turtle dove. It's also got quite a cool call to watch. So that's the one call okay, and here's, oh, we can get both of them in shots. Awesome. So you can see that Cape turtle dove is panting, essentially, due to the heat. You can see it. Oh, there we go. They really do puff their chests out when they do this. Looking as important as possible. Now the crested barbet's facing us, so we can see its colours a bit better, which is great. It's got little red flecks and black speckles on its throat, amongst what's mainly a yellow body. Very interesting looking birds, these. They've also got a small kind of crown or crest that they can flare up on the top of their head. Getting a serious performance here from these two individuals, then non-stop. What would be really nice if they managed to attract any potential mates or fans to this tree, or potentially attract some other males who may chase them off or compete for the rights to sing from this tree. Okay, folks, well, I think that was a great little show these two birds put on for us. Cool. So the game viewers are only getting out now. They probably met their guests for tea at around 4 o'clock. Tea and some afternoon snacks. Feeding is an important part of the safari experience. There's a lot of good food at various intervals through the day. Afternoon tea is one of them. So you usually have either a late brunch and then a snooze and then a late afternoon lunch, or you have a breakfast, relax, and then a snooze before a small afternoon tea. That's quite nice. I would suggest, if possible, if coming on safari, to try and get a combination of walking and areas are more conducive to that kind of settlers. But it's very nice to do a morning walk and an afternoon drive, and that way you do get to stretch the legs. So this morning, folks, just to give you a recap on what was out there, this morning does determine quite a lot of afternoon will turn out in terms of if predators were found or animals were found in the morning. Your chance of finding them again in the afternoon are obviously greater than having not seen them at all. Managed to find any animals themselves. We saw a lot of elephant tracks in this area. Excuse me, and two different sets of leopard tracks. So the animals are here, we're just not sure exactly where they're hiding. So what I think the initial plan is to head to Twin Dams, then from Twin Dams to Treehouse Dam, and then from Treehouse Dam head on into Arathusa, do a bit of exploring there, get myself more familiar with the roads, and also just give you guys a change of scenery for those of you who have been following closely. Well, my mind could be playing tricks on me. It happens often. Either that, or I heard some branches breaking to the left of the vehicle now. So we'll just stop for a second or two. Let's see if I can hear anything else. Other than a francolin calling off in the distance, it appears that the breaking of branches has ceased, or never happened in the first place. I was hoping that it was potentially an elephant having broken down a branch. They've been causing a fair amount of destruction to the trees at this time of the year, and it does vary from different times of the year how elephants behave and feed. And it appears that recently they have tended to knock down a few trees in order to try and access their roots and all the leaves on top of the tree that they can't reach unless the tree is knocked over. It does appear to be heading down in this direction. The joy of finding an animal after finding its tracks in a road and kind of predicting how old they are or whether the animal may be ahead is really one of my favorite feelings or forms of job satisfaction. Use information from the road and the tracks to determine where an animal is or how far away it is. It doesn't happen often at all. So when it does happen, it's the equivalent of winning the lotto when you just get it just right. It's not an easy thing to do, is tracking animals, and there's a few different tribes throughout Africa and I'm sure the world have some incredible trackers amongst them. From a very early age, and information needs to be shared between generations around the campfire, which does happen in areas where there are still remote villages and communities existing how they have for thousands of years, and that's where you get the real maestros. Another riverbed that we will stop and scan. And like I say, I mean, I know there's a slim chance of finding a leopard as we drive through every riverbed, but there are beautiful places just to stop and listen and enjoy the scenery. Nice, shady, dense vegetation following these riverbed beds. And at stages in the coming months, this will be flowing, sometimes to a degree that we wouldn't be able to drive a vehicle through here, depending on the rains. So remember today, and remember in a couple of weeks' time potentially, when we're showing you one of these riverbeds in full flow. Hard to believe, but this is the time of year that it will happen. In that way, know where to go first thing in the morning and be able to show the chameleon in the daytime, moving around, hunting. Who knows, a fly may land on the leaf at the right time and we could see a chameleon make a kill by unleashing that sticky tongue of theirs, which would be wonderful to see and to share with you. And as we've had this discussion, Brian has been bringing it up, wanting it to happen, and so do I. So now I'm even searching the trees for chameleons during the day, which is certainly not nearly as easy as doing it at night time, but we are desperate to show you the chameleon. We haven't forgotten about it, and It will happen in the coming weeks or months, that I can assure you. That is the beauty of being out here. We can hope and dream about seeing certain things, and yes, assume that if we do spend long enough out here, we will get spoilt and see exciting things. But we've got no influence as to when they may happen. They could all happen on the same drive, boom, 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 and just get completely spoiled with incredible sightings one after the other. Or it could happen over a period of months or weeks. But what is safe to assume is that the more time we spend out here, the greater our odds are of seeing something exciting or special. And that is sadly something that gets a little bit blurred in shorter documentaries that are action-packed with incredible footage, certainly, but not necessarily realistic game drive experiences that you would experience as a guest when you come out here. Oh, there's a warthog here. I'm hoping it's going to get into this little mud wallow for us. It may already have been in it and come out since we've arrived. Yeah, that's evidently what happened. It looks like the bottom half of its body is moist, but I'm just looking on the monitor. I'm just going to try and get my binoculars. Oh no, it's slightly moist, but not moist enough to have just come out of the wallow. So maybe it was just having a drink. But warthog are known to spend time wallowing. There she goes down the road, tail up. Beautiful. That's something we should think about doing. Sadly, we are not in the right area to do it, but I would like to follow up on that family of warthog in the northwestern corner of our property. That we've had one good sighting of. One of the three piglets had two quite deep on its rump, each side of its rump, potentially from a leopard attack. I've seen female chase leopard away from piglets that they have actually managed to capture. So huge experience for female warthogs to chase after leopard with its piglets and your piglets in its mouth. Must be a hell of a thing, but it does happen. So it could well have happened in this certain youngster to chase the leopard off it, because yeah, but quite deep, that I would presume would be caused by an animal like a leopard. Birds of prey attempt to take young warthog as well. There's some large, martial eagle being one of the biggest. That would certainly try it with the baby warthog. Anyway, we do need to spend some more time with them, those three little piglets, and just enjoy their vibrant energy. They've got explosive speed. It's around like popcorn, as they, like little kernels popping in a pan. They bounce around. Sorry folks, I believe I'm having a technical difficulties, so I'm just going to try turning off the game drive channel, which may be interfering with things, which is not the end of the world. We'll no doubt bump into somebody later and they can give us updates as to what's going on. Ooh. Now this morning we watched a red-billed hornbill hunting, and now there's its cousin, the yellow-billed hornbill, also having a snack on something. Let's see if we can get you in on it. So slightly bigger than the red-billed hornbill that we saw this morning. looks whatever it's eating is something tiny. Or ants or termites potentially. Difficult to tell because whatever they are. Oh, there it goes. Now hopefully what it's done here is it's landed on that small branch, which it's now going to use as kind of a base in which to launch a kill from. Oh, there we go. What was that? Interesting. Little bug. This is awesome. Oh, look at that, a caterpillar. Sure, that looked juicy. That looked very juicy, that caterpillar. What an awesome bird to watch in the open like this. It's coming. Oh, another caterpillar. Look at that. Oh, wee. This is awesome. So obviously these caterpillars have just hatched, or not necessarily just hatched, but there was a hatching from a nest of eggs here, and hence two of the same caterpillars right in the same spot. Look at how beautiful this is, folks. It is run right up to us here. It's actually too close. Brian's gonna... Well done, dude. That was awesome filming. And such good action, folks. Right out in the open for us. That was a serious feeding frenzy we just witnessed. I sadly couldn't get an idea of what the first insect was, but it was quite thin and looked like a crunchier, less juicy invertebrate, whereas the second two caterpillars that I managed to grab onto, I think it was very happy about. I mean, if I was a hornbill, I would imagine that those caterpillars would have been very, very tasty. Well, let's give it maybe another minute. It'll be interesting to see if he's still full after all that food he's just lucked out on. But they often do fly up onto a perch and then look around like it's done now and then establish where the next best place is to go hunting. Sadly now it's chosen some thicker vegetation, which makes it difficult for us to show you. I mean, we're no obstructions. You can just see the grass twitching. Well, that was enjoyable. The birds really do provide us with a lot of entertainment out here. We can't, sorry Brian, we can't just rely on the big mammals for entertainment because, as you all know, they sometimes elude us, whereas the birds are typically always out and about and providing us with some entertainment. Good work on the filming there, Brian. There's so many places to stand here for animals. For some reason I'm feeling lucky, and I think we might have a chance of seeing this woodlands kingfisher that we can hear calling. This is my closest impersonation to their call, but I'm hoping we're going to be able to show you them displaying their wings, holding out their bright blue wings and unleashing that call. Oh, now that was interesting. That is a fish eagle. Let's just get into the shade here and see what's going on. Because it may have been feeding on a catfish that it's caught, or any fish that it may have caught in this dam. So there it is there. I know it's not easy to see and it is in the shadows, but that is a fish eagle. Let me double check with the binoculars. Oh no, hold on. It's either a juvenile fish eagle. I'm just trying to establish if it's... facing towards me or away from me. It's facing away, no, towards me. Yeah, another juvenile fish eagle. I was hoping it was going to be an osprey. No, I'm just going to scan the bank where it took off from. It was lying at the, or standing at the edge of the water. And if it had made a kill that was too big to fly off with, it may have just abandoned it there and flown off to safety when it got a fright from our vehicle. But from what I can tell, there is no fish on the bank of the dam, the waterhole. And no other visitors at the waterhole today. Timing's everything. It was just a few mornings ago that I had a beautiful elephant sighting at this dam. What helped was seeing them heading towards the dam, but they were probably a mile away from it when we did see them, but they were heading straight here, so we knew we had about 5 or 10 minutes to potter about and then come here and wait for them, and they gave us a beautiful drinking display. It's a little section of riverbed here I just thought we would investigate. Some of you may be realizing that I do love the riverbeds, and therefore will spend as much time in them as possible. It's considerably cooler down in these riverbeds, which, yes, is enjoyable for Brian and myself, but also for any potential predators or any animal that's just seeking refuge from the heat. So, despite seeing nothing here now, there could well be certain animals enjoying the shady, cool riverbeds on days like this. Just evidently not in this stretch of riverbed today. Had leopard tracks walking down on this side of the riverbed a few days ago, so they do move here. So we'll just give it a minute or two. It could be looking at something like a leopard. If not, we can just look at it and enjoy its beauty. But they are great indicators. Any of the antelope, or most of the animals that fall into the prey item category, tend to help us hugely with finding the predators. But this female waterbuck, it's interesting that she appears to be alone, but there could be other members of her herd nearby. They're usually in small herds. But she seems to be alone, and potentially that's why she's a little bit nervous. She lacks the comfort of safety in numbers. Well, and making sure any potential that is being offered to you, you give a decent chance. Because, for example, if you think you've seen something, oh, here we go. Been wanting to show you this for a while. Okay. Well, there's only one individual left here, but I did even mention this morning that at this time of the year, elephant's dung doesn't get left in its natural state for very long, because animals like this, the helmeted guinea fowl, will come and rummage through it. It's only partially digested, all of the matter that passes through an elephant, so other animals like this, the helmeted guinea fowls, tree squirrels, dung beetles obviously utilize the dung as well, come in and flatten the boluses of elephant dung. Really pretty birds. A strange thing going on their head, for sure. Bald, blue skin with a strange helmet-like crest, but then their feathers are really what I love about them. Hundreds of little white spots. Karen, good afternoon, and how are you? Karen has just asked how often waterbuck get eaten by predators, because she's heard they are not tasty to eat. Karen, that is not entirely true. As far as I've experienced, most predators will happily feed on a waterbuck, and even us as humans can feed on them, but that is the only time that I've heard they may not be tasty for human consumption. For animal consumption, though, they have no problems whatsoever feeding on a waterbuck. So yes, they do have a very pungent, kind of damp smell, kind of moldy, damp smell to them, but that doesn't affect predators and doesn't deter them from feeding on them. And to put things in perspective, I mean, think of when predators like lions make a big kill, or even a leopard makes a big kill relative for its size, so a fully grown impala. If they feed on those kills, be it a buffalo for lion or a big impala for leopard, after 2 or 3 days of feeding on that animal, there's often maggots and a lot of rotten meat that does smell. So, and they still eat through it. So, the waterbuck do get eaten. In this area, we don't see them getting killed very often, simply because there are not very many of them. So, that obviously decreases their chances of being caught relative to the more numerous animals like buffalo and impala. So they do certainly get fed on. A bit big for a leopard though, a fully grown waterbuck. Maybe a big male leopard will try his luck, but male, female, big or small. I don't know if I've come for a drink, but just onto the damn walls, so I'm just going to give them a little space. And I have looped through this area. This is the same dam we were at a few minutes ago, but I just wanted to loop through this area because there are 2 leopards quarantined in Djuma, the 2 brothers that are 2 years old, that have been spending a lot of time around these 2 dams. Let's park here for a second and see what these guinea fowl do. I don't think they're going to come down to drink, but if they do, wouldn't that be nice? So they're just on the dam wall now. The same individuals we saw rummaging through the elephant dung, but they have now just disappeared out of sight. And we've got another game viewer coming past. Hello! They may be wondering what we're looking at now. That often happens out here. You see another vehicle stopped and looking in a direction. You think, ooh, what have they seen? Because just like today, our radio has been giving me a little bit of trouble, so I haven't been on it, and they would have got excited when they came around the corner and seen us parked here, looking at something. Little did they know we were looking at the end of a guinea fowl disappearing over the dam wall. For those who joined us, welcome, and just to remind you, so to join us, we would love to have you around the fire with us. Okay, well, twin day, knowing that we have scoured the immediate surroundings, and as far as we can, nobody here. Buffalo in the road straight ahead of us. It's a change in fortune. We've been a bit quiet with the mammals this afternoon. There's probably a few more following closely behind them. They happen in small bachelor herds, these buffaloes. And here they are here. Oh, beautiful specimen on our left here. Look at this guy. He's a brute. Even just that attitude on his face. You would not want to have him staring at you like this if you were on a walk through the bush. Your heart would probably be in your throat right now. I've said it once and I'll say it again. This is the last animal I would like to come across on foot when exploring the African bush, because they don't tolerate rubbish from anyone, and they're exceptionally powerful animals, and they can move very quickly, much quicker than we can move. So your only chance is to get up a tree with these guys. So if in an area with small trees or no trees, that can be a difficult problem to get around. I've seen these animals toss lioness into this air like they're little rag dolls, and a lioness is considerably larger than your average human, so we would certainly go flying through the air if they were to toss us with those horns. Oh, there's a fork-tailed drongo just landed. Oh, there you can see it flying underneath him, and not easy. Well done, Brian. There it goes. Now these fork-tailed drongos often follow large herbivores. There's two that I can see already here, potentially more. And what they do is they're allowing these large herbivores to chase up little grasshoppers or insects, and then they fly down and catch them. So without the buffalo chasing them up, it would be a very difficult procedure for them to hunt. Another big male up in the road ahead of us. These are all males, and quite common for the older bulls to join together, semi-retired, but still very wary of the fact that the more of them are together, the safer they become. They are forced to be reckoned with on their own, but lion can get lucky in a pride like the Birmingham boys, for example. 5 young males, all big and strong, that have almost specialized in buffalo hunting. They can, with relatively ease, not relative ease, depending on the scenario, but they can bring down buffalo bulls like this. It's been done before, they've done it. But what makes it difficult is while they're trying to bring down one bull, if another bull or another 3 or 4 bulls are attacking them and charging them, and often they can chase lion off one of their friends from the herd after the lions have got the thing completely pinned down. So very useful for them to stick in these herds from a safety point of view. And I guess company, they don't seem like the most social of beasts, but maybe they have an unapparent social and emotional side that we are unaware of. It's a good time of year for buffalo. There's lots of fresh green grass coming through. Towards the end of winter they do battle. There's very little grass for them to feed on, and all that's left is the dry, unpalatable grasses typically. Alex, I only got the first half of that question, so if you could just go with it again, please. Okay, questions just come through from Lisa. Good afternoon, Lisa, and welcome. Lisa's just asked, if buffalo are herbivores, which they are clearly indicating to us now, why would they have any need to hunt humans? And it's not a case of them hunting us, they are simply killing us because they feel we're a threat to them. Oh, hurt us, not hunt us. Sorry, apologies, Lisa. They would want to hurt us because we appear to be a threat to them. So, and rightfully so. I mean, buffalo were hunted for many, many years and still are in different parts of Africa, but they simply don't tolerate any nonsense from anyone, be it lion, leopard, and we also, just a factor that they would rather dismiss or expel than leave around to potentially cause them trouble. So they've got a short temper and an aggressive nature, and potentially they'd feel threatened for us. And even though in this situation we've been walking and spending hours around these animals, and you know, lion and leopard see us on foot, and most of the time they don't react too negatively to us, but these animals you simply cannot habituate to the human being, not unless they're raised from a very young age, and even then they're wild animals that could twist and turn at any given stage. So it's just a part of their nature, Lisa. It is a good question though, and the best reason I can give is simply that they do feel threatened by us, and they would rather get rid of any threats than tolerate them. I mean, the angle that we've got now, folks, really gives you a great idea of how big and strong they are. If he faces his head towards us again, which I'm hoping he'll do, you'll get an idea of how wide and strong that neck is. I mean, that set of horns alone probably weighs around 40 pounds, 50 pounds. So just carrying that around all day would obviously give those neck muscles a lot of exercise, but they're just extraordinarily strong and bulky animals. And you can see what I was talking about, this beautiful fresh lush green grass that they love feeding on, and that's indicative of this time of the year. In winter, as I mentioned earlier, it's very dry, everything's brown, and obviously a lot of the best food has already been eaten. Beautiful, folks. He's feeding so close to us. This is a really awesome shot you're getting from our friend Brian on camera. Oh, he doesn't like something. He all of a sudden just pricked his head up, stopped what he was doing, and now whatever that feeling he got was from, he's decided to change course, and so shall we. We shall continue and see what else there's to find there. That was a beautiful sighting of that buffalo. His friends. Just double checking these trucks that I saw this morning heading towards Twin Dams. That was the reason why we did so many loops for all the little roads around Twin Dams, because there was a leopard that headed in that direction last night. Or at least that's the message we got from the tracks in the road. He could well have made it to the dam and continued a mile or two on from that, or simply be lying around a corner that we couldn't see him. Three different animals that all kind of took off from the same place. One was a dwarf mongoose, one was a yellow-billed hornbill, and one was the lilac-breasted rotor that Brian's on now. But they were all in the same little spot. I'm just trying to establish if they're kind of all feeding on something jointly or what caused them to be together, other than good company. Oh, Brian, there's a dwarf mongoose performing quite well for us here on the right hand side. I don't know if you want to try and get it. It's to the right of this little tree stump. There we go, yeah. Spot on. Oh, there it goes. Dink, 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 dink. Just standing up on its back legs watching us for a second or two. There's a few more playing around in this log, in and amongst this log that Brian's now showing you guys, but they seem to have disappeared into the undergrowth, and so is the lilac-breasted roller. Oh, but we'll be able to maybe show you that again. It's just flown on a little bit further. We will one day find the right opportunity to view these dwarf mongoose. And it's typically when they're sunning themselves in the morning around the termite mounds that they so often live in. But like I say, in a situation like this, we're going to battle to get any good views of them, but we will, at some stage, find a good dwarf mongoose sighting for you guys. Don't forget to be scanning in any of these trees with the horizontal branches for any abnormal shapes that could be a leopard. Okay, we've got some Nyala and Impala up ahead of us. Sadly, it's very thick and we're facing straight into the sun, so it's not easy to show you guys, but we might have a little bit of luck. Another bachelor herd of Impala. Very calm and relaxing time of the year for the male Impala. They've got very little on their minds other than feeding. Whereas in a few months' time, all they'll be able to think about is the ladies, and then we get to witness them running around quite wildly, making sure that other males don't come onto their small patches of territory that they try and secure, and then females will then come onto the territory depending on how good the feeding is, how good the security is there, or safety on that clearing, and they'll defend those patches, sometimes to the death, interestingly enough. I've found impala carcasses twice in my time, both of which we deduced that they had been killed by other impala. It was just puncture wounds in their abdomens. So they do fight aggressively at that time of the year, the rutting season. But right now, as you can see, they are very, very relaxed with one another's presence. This one would have been born this time last year, in all likelihood, judging by his horn size. 2013 model. So it'll be a few more years before those two can compete for the ladies. At around 4 or 5 years of age would be a more likely age for them to be big enough and wise enough to acquire their patch of turf and the ladies that come with it. See you later, boys. Keep it tidy. Okay, well, we are arriving at Treehouse Dam, and there appear to be some visitors here, which is great. Okay. Another fairly large herd of buffalo bulls. These guys are seriously taking it easy at the moment. What would be really nice is if we could be wallowing in there right now. I'm sure it is a very, very soothing temperature. Possibly a little bit interesting there. You can see a terrapin. If we were lying there, we'd have terrapins nibbling on us. It's a small turtle essentially. There you can see its head's popped up between the two, heading to the one on the far right. And they'll feed on any ectoparasites, ticks, just like the oxpeckers do. But I think the buffalo's hide is a lot tougher than ours, so I wouldn't like to receive a nip from one of those little terrapins. Here's another one on the close side of this buffalo. It's grabbing onto its ear shortly, it looks like. Oh, no, just swimming along. But they are looking for little ticks or ectoparasites. They are carnivorous, these little terrapins. Feels like this one might be trying to climb onto its back, which is not uncommon. Come on, do it. Yes. Come on, you can do it. Oh no. It thought about it. It certainly thought about it. Possibly the gradient was too high. Oh, here we've got a bit of a fashionista wearing a headpiece. If only it knew how silly it looks. Beautiful shot, Brian. Wonderful. So oxpeckers, terrapins and buffalo all having a good time. There's two nuzzling one another there, Brian, just to the left of your shot now. Which is interesting, a little bit of affection it appears these two were displaying to one another. Which is quite bizarre for such a large and potentially aggressive animal. But like I did mention earlier, they may have an emotional side that we are unaware of. Okay. One buffalo, I've just got a message from Alex in Final Control, and he says one of the buffaloes looks like it's blind in its one eye. I just need to establish which one it is he's talking about. Okay, no, that's interesting because I think it's just closing its eye because it's the sun shining on it. So even though it looks like it's blind, it might be. Just hold on, folks, I'm just getting a call from one of the guides. Afternoon, Ryan. How are you doing? It's Scott here. Yes, so I've had my radio down for a bit, but I am mobile at That's very kind of you. Thanks, Brian. I'll be heading across in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Cool. I hope you copied that. So now let me get back to this buffalo now, folks. I was just a guide from Arathusa who was just letting me know that he's going to be helping me out this afternoon when I go across there. So now back to this potentially blind buffalo. Now both of its eyes are closed, and I don't think it would be around if it was blind in both eyes. So, like I said, I think it is just because of the sun beating down on the right-hand side of its face that that eye does appear to be unoperational, but it's just a temporary thing. I think. Oh, there we go. There it opened. It seems okay for a brief second. Sure. Well, they certainly do know how to look relaxed. No. Where to go from here? There were also leopard tracks here this morning, folks. So just to keep you in the loop, let's hope these oxpeckers don't go anywhere. Well, the buffalo is going, which means the oxpeckers are going along with it. Just some beautiful sunlight on those birds, which really does emphasize their beauty when the sun is shining perfectly on them. So yes, there was a leopard in this area last night, in all likelihood, judging by the tracks. Hence us doing another little meander through this area this afternoon, potentially little pop-outs. Excuse me. Folks, just to recap, if any of you have just joined us in the last few minutes, we have had an enjoyable afternoon thus far. Not too many mammals about yet, although good sightings of two separate herds of buffalo bulls, and we've just been working through an area where we did have leopard tracks this morning, two different sets. So we've worked through the two areas where the tracks were last seen, hoping that one may pop up. And now that that plan seems to have failed, it's not over yet, but at this stage it seems to have failed, we are going to continue on to Arathusa, which is another area that we have access to traversing. And I personally haven't spent too much time there in the last few weeks that I've been here, so enjoying the change of scenery. And there may have been rumors, just rumors, that there are some form of predator across there. Now, there's only one way to find out, that's to go there and have a look for ourselves, so that's what we're going to do. But there is a chance that we will be seeing some predators. I forget which one, but a predator of sorts awaits us, hopefully. radar station, could you go again with the position of that animal?
Yeah.
Right there?
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
Almost like you can do that at this moment, south.
Okay, cool. Thank you. How's it going?
Alright.
Hello.
Seen in this area, but it's very thick and we're just trying to regain visual of it. It is or was a leopard, and there are impala in the area, so we just need to be careful to not scare the impala too much, because she may just be meters behind them. The impala are just ahead of us to the right there. We can see one's bottom, and she was last seen, apparently it's Karula, who we haven't seen for weeks. I spoke about her briefly earlier. Apparently it is her, and she is here somewhere. We just have to be very careful and try and not interfere with her hunting, but still try and keep an eye on her, which is obviously not easy. There are two other game viewers also here trying to re-establish a sighting of her. This is so exciting, folks. If it is her, it's a great sign that she is moving closer with her cubs, if she has given birth, of course. But there hasn't been any sign of her for a long time on this property. Where could she be? Okay, so the impala did run off, folks. Which means if she was still around, she'd probably poke her head up. Well done, Brian, thank you. She'd probably poke her head up, because there'd be no reason, sorry buddy, there'd be no reason for her to continue hiding. Well, leopards do these strange things, and that even though they were impala out here, maybe she didn't see it a good opportunity and moved off. Well, sadly, folks, I haven't been updated very well as to the situation that had happened here. So, I don't know if they had lost visual of her when she was hunting, or when last they had a visual of her, but I will find that out shortly. But without that info, it's going to make... Okay, I've just been pointed in a certain direction by one of the guides, so I'm just going to take his word for it. Oh, not good for the paint job. all my earpiece that's about to be ripped out. It's out. Okay, get the earpiece back in. Okay. Okay, well, I can see another vehicle now, and I'm hoping that they are going to be with her. There are lots of impala in this area, folks. Lots and lots of impala, and nice thick vegetation for a leopard to hunt in, so let's, hopefully we're going to find her.
Hello everyone. Being out in the bush and being out there live has its technical challenges. We're experiencing some of that now and are working on it as fast as possible to get it sorted and get you back in the vehicle with us.
Just anything, but sorry about the breakup there in signal. So now, slightly frustrating scenario in that it appears this leopard has disappeared. She could still pop up, but we've been here for a few minutes now, and the people that last saw her would have the best idea of where she may have headed, and they have had no luck. And now I'm not sure what to do, because we could spend the rest of the radio. I'm just listening to these guides and their plan as to where they're going to go and check for her now, and that way be able to plan where we're going to go and check. So it was apparently the Karula female leopard that we haven't seen for weeks. That was seen here, but she has sadly managed to disappear in the time it took for us to get her from the message that we first received from her of her being found. Oh, well done, Brian. So, what we're going to do now is what to do. Always interesting finding where the road is after a little bit of bushwhacking like we've just done. I think we're heading in the right direction. Does give you an idea of how hard it was for the guys to follow her through here. It's very thick, and like I did mention earlier, they are in vehicles that are not nearly as maneuverable as Zanele and Djuma are. Oh, there goes my earpiece again. No, still in. Oh. Kind of a creeper. Oh, well, that sure was exciting, hearing that Karula was around, but then, as excited as we were, I've now become somewhat disappointed in that we didn't get to see her. But who knows, she could be around any one of these corners we turn around now. My plan is just to get onto the road and drive around the block that she was in, that she was moving away through. She was heading south through this block, just west of Shibam Road and south of Philemon's cut line. For any of you guys that know the property well, that is where we currently are, and she was heading south apparently from there, so there's a chance we could find her on any of these surrounding roads. Go ahead. Okay, copy, thanks. Yeah, I'll head down Triple M and then on to Gowrie Main from Philemon's cut line. So I'll just do the opposite to you and we'll loop the block. Okay, well, I just formalized a little bit of a plan with Andrew, one of the other guides. He's going to loop around this block in one direction and I'm going to loop around in the other. We'll pass one another at some stage and hopefully sometime in between we will find her. Okay. Okay. Okay, copy that, Alex. That is interesting. We'll keep monitoring that then while I'll spot it. Now folks, I'm kind of torn as to what to do, because half of me wants to carry on looking for this leopard, and the other half of me wants to take you guys to something that is a little bit more guaranteed in terms of a sighting. And I've now come to the conclusion that it'll probably be better to head to something that we know rather than something that we don't know over here, for a few reasons. It's getting a bit late, and the block in which this leopard was lost is very big. She could be in one of so many different places, so to find her again would be quite difficult, especially considering she was lost whilst people had a view of her. So that's how thick the bush is and how hard it is to keep up with her. So we will leave Karula and head off somewhere else, but not immediately. The other thing that we do have to bear in mind is there's the fireside chat tonight. Excuse me. Okay, well, we can do a bit of a loop around back to Shibam Road, see if she doesn't pop out anyway. Another reason that why we'd be tempted to leave is we are on a portion of our property that is close to our southern boundary, and she's heading towards that, so if she heads out over that road, that means we can't follow her. All those little factors lead me to think that it'll be more beneficial for us to go and show you guys something that we know pretty sure will still be there when we get there. Okay. Just want to have a little inspection under the vehicle quickly. It smells like something could be burning, but it could just be branches that have been stuck under there. Everything's in one piece. We're just carrying around some extra cargo. Okay. Andrew, I've driven up Gowrie Main to Shibam Junction. I'm going to head back down Gowrie Main and then head into Arathusa. Thank you for your help. Good luck. Okay, copy, thank you. Okay folks, well, the good news is that Karula appears to be back on the property. She may well have been in all this time that we haven't seen her, but it's unlikely that we would have not seen one of her tracks in the last few weeks. Apologies for the corrugations here folks, but I do need to cover a little territory now in order to get where we were initially planning on going before the excitement of that leopard sighting or potential leopard sighting took control of us. Gonna have to stop here for a second and get some updates from the Arathusa guides. So bear with me for a moment. Ryan for Scott. Could you try go to the northern channel, please? Yeah, copying you a bit better on this channel, Ryan. How are you doing? Very good, thanks. Could I please have an update on the Ngala sighting off 2nd Windmill Road, please? Confirm that at 2nd Windmill pan itself. Okay, copy. Thank you very much for your help. I'll stay on this channel. I think it might be best if people want to get a hold of me, if you don't mind letting them know. I'm on Triple M, just close to Zebra Drive. Okay, copy. Thank you very much. Okay, folks. Apologies for that, but just need to follow the correct protocol when entering onto a slightly different traversing area. There's different radio channels for different areas. As soon as we possibly can. What I was mentioning, and I don't know if you did hear the message earlier, is that with confirmed sightings, we limit the vehicles to 3 vehicles per sighting in this area, which is a great way to maximize both the guests' experience as well as the animals' experience. And too many vehicles would have a negative impact, but 3 seems to be a good number. So because it was an established sighting, we needed to get into a queuing kind of system, a standby system, within which you can plan when to arrive at sightings, when there is space for you to be there. And we've just been told now that there is space for us, so we're going to make our way there as quickly as possible and then enjoy the sighting as much as we can before we have to shoot off to the fireside chat, which is a bit later this evening, straight after the evening drive. We may have a little bit of a delay due to the sighting that we're going to now, as well as the fact that there's only 1 vehicle operational at the moment, and in order to do the fireside chat we're used to using 2 vehicles for the whole setup. Beautiful stage of the evening now. It's cooled down a lot. I'm hoping we're going to be able to show you guys sun setting from where we're going, because it is appearing to be a beautiful sunset. We should be there in about 5 minutes, hopefully a little bit less. Like I said, I don't know this area very well due to the fact that we haven't spent much time here. But I've got the map out and we are heading in the right direction, and we're not too far away. Here at this time of the year, well, minimal damage is caused to them. They are still damaged though, and a lot of upkeep is needed to maintain roads in this great state that we find them. So the leisurely, casual drive across here was interfered with the of Karula earlier, and then we got caught up in that excitement for a while. But we've returned to the original plan to come with these predators. I haven't told you that we're going to have a surprise this afternoon. This. Clearly smelling the air to the east. It potentially can smell the same predators that we are coming to see off close to where we need to be. Very close, I believe. Let's continue, folks. Against us, but this hyena certainly knowing there's also vultures in the tree up on our. Okay, we are. Here we are. Beautiful. So, was very close to these predators that you're about to lay your eyes on. Bear with. Bear with, we are most on position. Single range here, and we have taken a chance with shots of folks. I believe the signal isn't good. We're just going to try and get them slightly ground where apparently the signal is a bit better. That's just getting some alcohol room. Bear with us. I know it's frustrating for you. Should hopefully shortly then with good signal cast. Okay, folks. Well, we have 3 of the Birmingham coalition. They have managed to kill yet another buffalo, and that is why their stomachs are so full. You can see one other member lying 50 meters. The youngest, smallest male with surgery on his eye. He tends to fly up away from the rest of the coalition in situations like individual I can't. One other member lying 2 meters. The youngest, smallest with zero on his eye. He tends to fly up away from the rest of the coalition in situations like the only individual I can't see is the biggest member of their coalition, and he's got a distinctly blonde and longer mane than the rest of them. Now sadly, due to the situation of their bellies, I really don't feel good to hear that they're still doing well and that they haven't come across any conflict. Certainly good to hear that they're still doing well and that they haven't come across any conflict or fight. Slinking around amongst other dominant males who are territorial in this area. But despite their relatively young age, they are proving to be an extremely formidable coalition. There's 5 of them in total, and they are sure that it was at that particular 3. 2 full grown outs, buffaloes, 1 cow, 1 bull, and on the 3rd night they took down a young calf, all of which are tricky prey items. Even taking down a calf comes with its troubles because the rest of the herd then returns to try and chase the lion off the calf, and this did happen, but the bigger blonder male out of coalition has managed to kind of stand in front and keep those buffaloes at bay, allowing the rest of the pride to dispatch the calf that they managed to catch. Now folks, oh, here comes a hyena. I'm not sure where the carcass is, but obviously it is somewhere in the area, because I saw one on the way in, and our second one approaching. That's just coming into your shot now. This one's a big individual. One we saw initially was a youngster. Certainly showing signs of caution, as it should. Any area with a carcass or carrion lying around is a potentially dangerous site, because whoever that food belongs to will often protect it. Sure, it's very excited. Look at that behavior. And that's why. An evening dip. Oh no, maybe it was a bit too cold. Thought about it though. Such wonderful animals, the hyena. They've got a lot of bad publicity over the years, but a critical member of the ecosystem here. They've got an important role to play. And despite all of that, just looking at them like this is quality entertainment. You can obviously smell the lion, and now the lion have got their heads up and have seen it. So let's maybe show you the lion quickly, because they are looking very intently at it and may even chase it. Now, due to the lion won't be able to, they're in a slight depression, and if it gets too close, so let's maybe show you the lion quickly, because they are looking very intently at it and may even chase it. Now, due to the I won't be able to, in a slight depression. And if it gets too close, maybe then will we see these otherwise currently lethargic beasts show a sign of speed. But the hyena is practicing extreme caution, is not back. This little monkey smell them and know that lion is in danger, but it can also probably smell that buffalo, which is certainly going to be driving its taste buds wild. Oh, here the lion showing a lot more interest now. They've stood. Again, it would have to come very close, and I highly doubt that it will come very close to them for them to chase it. What a great bit of interaction, though, that we've just seen. And I think on that note, we will leave. And the reason why is to get back to facilitate a campfire chat, which is an important part of weekly events. Strongly feel too much else will happen here in the next few minutes. Quits and leave, having seen that an interesting back from the lions when they did see it. We'll head on back towards quarantine and see what we can find on the way. I strongly feel too much else will happen here in the next few minutes. Quits and leave, having seen that an interesting back from the lions when they did see it. We'll head on back towards quarantine and see what we can find on the way. And also see the way in. So, sorry for all the technical difficulties. We knew we were going to be pushing the boundaries here. We ran the edge of our signal, but it was worth it to get to some boys in the end, or at least a few of them. Thank you for understanding, and apologies for the signal issues. That's every Sunday. We'll try to, at least, weather permitting, is for evening tonight, so we certainly are going to be going ahead with it. The fact that one of the vehicles are battling to usual setup that we're used to, so we back there in order to start fire. Alex, if that was you talking to me, I'm hardly copying anything. Alex, can you believe? Well, I haven't copied any transmissions from you in a while, but I am heading back as fast as I can. Okie dokes. Yeah, 2 out of 5. Oh. Okie dokie. Just checking the map again, making sure I'm on the right road. We are on the right road, in the right direction. Just a little bit faster than I'd like to be, but other than that, all is good. It's often in times like this when you're rushing from A to B that you do bump into some interesting animals. And it is a theory employed by a few safari guides out there, covering ground as opposed to move slowly and scanning intensely. Both ways do produce results to varying degrees. And currently we are in the ground covering mode, not the intense scanning mode. Now and has had many a campfire chat, so he's been through it before but is also excited for his first one of this season or this certain project. So we're both excited to share the campfire with you and would like as many of you to join as possible. It's not entirely uncommon to have visitors passing by, sometimes an elephant, hyena, anything's possible. A leopard was lying in the tree 2 weeks ago when Hayden and Peter did their campfire chat. Hayden and Peter were the two previous presenters that presented before myself and Mark started up. So who would have thought it's a leopard lying in a tree behind your campfire chats? I mean, really unbelievable. I'm not saying that's going to happen tonight, but strange things do happen out here, folks. They really do. I think we are looking relatively on time at this stage, which is great. This was the area that Karula was seen in earlier, so there is a chance that we bump into her. And if we do bump into her, we will simply delay the fireside chat by a few minutes and enjoy the time we can with her. Okay, folks, well, this is basically where she was last seen. She was a little bit to our right-hand side. But who knows where she is now. This is basically where she was last seen. She was a little bit to our right-hand side. But who knows where she is now. For those of you who have just joined recently, we got a radio call about an hour ago saying that they had a glimpse of Karula moving through some very thick vegetation, and thankfully we were close by, so we got in and tried to give the guys a hand in looking for her, but had no luck finding her. Anyway, good to hear that she is in the area. She's a female leopard that we have, was usually viewed a lot on Djuma, and sadly over the last few weeks she's been a bit elusive, but it could be for a very good reason, and that she had potentially given birth. So understandable that she's changed her behavior a little bit, considering she's got possibly 2 cubs that she needs to raise now. It's a wonderful, wonderful evening, not a cloud in the sky anymore, nice and cool. So we are in for a treat around the campfire this evening. Welcome back, folks. Sorry about the breakup there again. We are just arriving in quarantine, so I'm going to say excuse me, goodbye, but we are setting up the campfire chats, and it should take us about 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll be broadcasting again live. It's a great interactive period between us and you where we can share questions and tales, so please join us around the campfire in the next few minutes. But until then, I'm going to sign out, and we'll catch up with you, like I say, 5 or 10 minutes. See you later.